Well, his attorneys from the beginning, in the opening statements, went out on a limb and said Donald Trump is innocent. He's innocent of all of
Yes.
these charges. So they immediately are on the not just defensive but offensive in terms of whether it's poking holes in the credibility of the star witnesses or just trying to project the narrative that's going to go forward throughout the trial. David Pecker, another star prosecution witness, former publisher of the National Enquirer, testified for a short while today after opening statements concluded, and he is again central to this case as well, because as you said, what could be interesting is we don't know what details the prosecution has right now to put forward their case, because Michael Cohen has in the past, during his criminal troubles and other instances and even media interviews, has said there was never direct commentary from Trump to do something that might be considered illicit or illegal. He claimed that it was always maybe a nod or an understanding. And so crucial to proving their case is going to be actual nexus and evidence, as you say. David Pecker, was part of an alleged, or not alleged, he was part of a catch and kill campaign where Stormy Daniels came to the National Enquirer with her story of an alleged affair with Donald Trump. And that's where this began to spiral in terms of whether it was a hush money payment, whether it was a non-disclosure. And that's where the semantics are going to change and where the case is going to hinge. What do you think about David Pecker's role in this case? And he's one of the first, he is the first prosecution witness.
I think the prosecution wants to use David Pecker to start slowly introducing evidence. It's not like the star witness is coming up right away. They need to lay the foundation for their case. They need to take it step by step. And one way to take it step by step here is to get David Pecker on the stand to describe what he does. What was his role? What was his job? What did he know? What did he do? And interestingly enough, here they brought up his phone number and they asked him to confirm his phone number, which previews that maybe this phone number later comes up on cell phone records with texts or communications where certain agreements are made between individuals, where potentially someone, Michael Cohen, is texting him and saying, former President Trump wanted me to get back to you to do this and to take these steps to kill this story. I do think the prosecution's use of that term catch and kill is a smart use of terminology for their narrative, because it paints a certain picture of what was going on here. It makes it seem nefarious. Catch and kill a story that you don't like. The prosecution, just like the defense, they need to tell a story. They need to put it out there in a way that makes sense to the jurors. That's a good slogan for them to go back to. And I think the reason they're starting with David Pecker is they're laying the foundation. What are we talking about here? We're talking about the National Enquirer and stories that were killed and that were blocked, or other positive stories that were promoted leading up to the 2016 election. So I think it makes perfect sense that the prosecution started at this juncture with David Pecker.
And he's back on the stand tomorrow. Some of the media observers during the trial said that today Trump was very attentive. He was looking around the gallery. He was looking frequently at his own attorney. What do we know about Todd Blanche, who is his defense attorney? He sort of had a revolving array of representation. Do you know anything about his background or how we expect him to go forward and his style at all?
Todd Blanche made a very interesting move. He was at a large law firm in New York City, which the name escapes me right at this moment, but he was at a large law firm working as a partner, and he was tapped by former President Trump to be his defense attorney. And I believe he left that practice to just do this on his own. So he staked his career on the defense of Donald Trump. So obviously Donald Trump has a lot of confidence in him. He's a seasoned attorney that has taken on very difficult cases that former President Trump is facing, not just because the cases themselves have difficult facts or the allegations are something that the prosecution may have the evidence to back up. It's a larger case than that. It's political. he has to implement strategies across the board that both balance being a defense attorney and trying to get a great result for his client. And I really think that the end goal here overall is to get Donald Trump to the 2024 election, to call off the other cases so they don't go forward, to minimize any ill effects of this case. You know, in his perfect world, former President Trump would be completely exonerated here and get absolutely against them. The prosecution's case would fail, but he could also mitigate it and get the charges reduced to a misdemeanor and put former President Trump in a position where he gets a brief probationary period, which I don't think would have any effect on his voting base. In fact, it may even bolster it and say this prosecution came for a big swing at the plate and they whiffed. So his attorney has a lot on his plate, and he's really staked his career saying, Donald Trump is my number one client, and I'm going to do everything in my power to represent him across these different criminal trials.